Dear students and working accountants, sorry, welcome to my Expert Tally Prime YouTube channel. My name is Babu Rao. Today in this video, we are going to discuss about the reverse charge mechanism. What is that and how the meaning of that and how it is entered in the tally. Okay. Before entering into the topic, a request to you, many students, they're entering my channel, watching the videos and going without subscribing to the channel. I request you all, please subscribe once only. You have to subscribe only once. So subscribe to everyone, please subscribe to my channel. And next to the subscribe button, there is a bell icon. Click that bell icon and select all so that all the videos which I upload in my channel, you will get the notification. Okay. And the another most important thing is, please watch every video till the end. Don't skip in the middle. If you skip in the middle, you can know and you can understand the topic up to that point only. The balance subject or topic you will not know. So it will be like half knowledge. It's a waste of time. So please watch every video till the end so that you will get a very good knowledge for the topic. Any topic, if you see, you will get very good knowledge, and you practice that, you will be have expert knowledge. Okay, I'll tell another thing. See, we are going to the college. We'll attend the BA, BSc, BCom, or any postgraduate degree. We are attending the colleges. We are attending the college for getting the academic qualification. But here we are learning Tally Prime software professional training we are taking. That is why you have to spend time for this also. So every video will be around 40 to 50 minutes, or maximum it will be less than 1 hour. So can't you spend that time? So you have to spend that time and watch every video till the end so that you will get expert knowledge. And after watching the full video, if the video is good, you please like the video, and if you like the video, the YouTube people will share this video to many people so that many people can learn this topic. Okay, now we will enter into the topic, reverse charging mechanism. I will share the screen. See here, what is meant by reverse charging mechanism? Before learning that, I will tell you. See, so far we learned all the traders, manufacturers, service providers, everything. The person who are supplying the goods or services, giving the goods or services, are called the seller, or technically called as supplier or seller. And the person who are purchasing or buying the goods or services is called the buyer or recipient of goods or services. Recipient means buyer, supplier means seller. So seller is called supplier and buyer is called recipient. So the seller will give the invoice with the taxable value of the goods or services, and then GST applicable to that, and the total price called as invoice price. So that invoice, they will issue the invoice to the buyer, that is the recipient. The recipient will pay the total amount of the invoice, that is the invoice, taxable value plus GST. Total amount you will pay to the seller, and the seller will pay to the government the tax only. So the taxable value he will retain, and the GST he will pay to the government with our GST number. That means on behalf of us, that is our amount. So with our number, our GST number, he will pay to the government, and from the government he will claim tax. ITC we will claim. Okay, ITC we will claim. This system is called, so buyer to supplier, they'll make the payment of. So anyhow the amount is paid, taxable value, but in addition to that, the GST. So buyer to supplier, the amount will be paid, and supplier will pay to the government. This method is called normal charging mechanism. Normally this will happen. This will happen in all the transactions normally. That is why this is called as normal charging mechanism, or it is also called forward charging mechanism. That means the the buyer or the recipient will forward the tax to the supplier, and supplier will forward the GST to the government. So we are forwarding to the government through the seller. This is called as, that's why this is called forward charge mechanism. So forward charge mechanism or reverse charge, forward charge mechanism or forward charge mechanism or normal charge mechanism, both are same. So this is the method. Everything will happen. Generally, this is the method. And another one is, so in the GST Act, there is one section, section 9. Section 9 is there with three subsections: 9 subsection 3, 9 subsection 4, 9 subsection 5. Under this section, the buyer, the seller, that is the supplier, will, when issuing the invoice or the bill, he cannot collect the tax. He should not collect the tax. Only his taxable value will be collected by him. The tax will not be collected. He will not charge the tax in the bill. But the buyer or the recipient, he will pay the tax, that is GST, directly to the government, and then he will claim the ITC, whether paid to government through the seller or he pays directly, then he can claim the ITC, input tax credit. This method is called as reverse charge mechanism. Normally, this is the normal method or for forward charge mechanism. That is what normally will happen. This is in the reverse order. So that is why this is called as reverse charge mechanism. This is called as reverse charge mechanism. So buyer will pay to the government directly, and then he will claim the ITC. The buyer will not pay, that is a recipient will not pay to the supplier. Okay, this is called as the reverse charge mechanism. Under the reverse charge, section 9, there are three subsections, that is category. So we will learn about the section 9 subsection 3. In this case, some specified goods or services, only those specified or specified goods or services will fall under the reverse charge mechanism. So some good, there are many, around 16 goods are there. So here, in that, the most important I am taking, all others are not applicable to us. And here, cashew nuts not peeled. Cashew nuts we will take from the trees without opening and without curing them. Yes, the raw cashew nuts, they come under the, if the goods are, these cashew nuts are sold, the seller cannot collect the tax. Next, BD wrapper, that is called as BD leaves also, that is called as tendu leaves. BD wrappers are tendu leaves when making the BDs. So these leaves, tobacco leaves, so we know that tobacco leaves, raw cotton taken from the trees, that is the plants, without opening and without taking the cotton outside. That is called as the raw cotton. And silk yarn, silk cultivate, that is the producers, they will grow the silk, that is what is a silk yarn. They will cultivate the silk, that is called as insects, and from there they will take the silk without taking out. With the raw yarn is called as raw silk, is called silk yarn. So all these are done by, or these are supplied by the agriculturists, farmers. So they will not have registration. So they cannot collect tax also. So these are made by these sales are made by the agriculturists. And then supply of lottery tickets. Generally, the governments conduct the lotteries, and the government will supply the lottery tickets to the dealers or distributors. So the government, when supplying, it cannot, that come under the normal, reverse charging mechanism. So the government cannot charge any tax. It cannot collect any tax. Only the recipient, that is the distributor or the agent, where we are taking the tickets and selling the tickets, he will pay the GST on these tickets directly to the government under the reverse charge. And used vehicles means old vehicles. Seized vehicles are goods. Any goods is seized by the government. By generally the GST department, they will seize the goods. They will seize the, and RTO, their transport department, they will seize the vehicles. Seized vehicles are goods. Used vehicles means old vehicles, old goods, old or used goods, waste or scrap. All these are sold by the person, and the supplier, the seller, they cannot collect any GST on these items, and the supplier will not collect, but the buyer or the recipient has to pay the GST on these at the specified rate directly to the government under the charge. They fall. And these are all, and in addition to that, some other also, available are there, and goods, some other goods, they are not applicable to all the people. These are only important. So this is about the goods. And then services. There are around 18 services. Out of that, all the services are not applicable to everyone. Only few are applicable to many businesses, and all others will be applicable to one or two businesses. Only to few businesses they are applicable. So only important I am taking. And one is first, the very, very important is GTA, means Goods Transport Agency. This is the first one, that is transport services rendered by GTA only, not by every transporter. By GTA, what is the meaning of? We will learn later. Okay. So the goods transport service given by the GTA, they will come under the reverse charge mechanism, and the transporter, that is supplier of the service, is the transporter, goods transport agency. The GTA cannot collect tax. For this, that for all these different rates are there. For all the services, the rate of tax is 18%, except this GTA service. For the GTA service, under the reverse charge mechanism, the tax rate is only 5%. So to all the goods transport agencies, this reverse charge is applicable. They cannot collect any tax. So in their bill, they will not charge the tax. Even though the tax is mentioned in that, amount is mentioned in the total, it will not be added. Only the transport charges will be taken as the taken by they are charged, and that only will be paid by the recipient to the GTA Goods Transport Agency without tax. And the transport will mention that GST is payable by the recipient under reverse charge. Under the reverse charge mechanism, the recipient has to pay the GST. So I am not responsible. So I am not collecting. He will not collect the GST. The recipient only has to pay at the rate of 12%. Okay. And there is another one 12%, 5%. Another one is 12%. That we will learn again later. Okay. Then legal services. So including this, all other services, the rate is 18%. Legal services, services given, received from any lawyer, firm of advocate, or firm of advocates, senior counsels, like that. Any services like court cases or any other legal services. So for that, the servicing lawyer, firm or individual lawyers, they cannot they fall under the reverse charge mechanism. They cannot charge any tax, GST. They will not collect the GST. The recipient has to pay the GST and reverse charge directly to the government at the rate of 18%. Similarly, rent. Some registered, unregistered dealer giving the property on rent to the registered people, then the registered person has to pay the GST on that rent. The seller cannot collect the tax. And also, sometimes government or local authorities, they construct some buildings, some shopping complex like that. They will give the shopping shops to the tenants for on rent. So in this case also, the municipal corporation or the government, they cannot collect the tax. They will collect only the rent. The GST on that rent will be paid by the tenants who are taking the shops on rent. The rent tenants only have to pay the tax directly to the government under reverse charge. This is rent. And security services, many companies, many houses, they keep some security guards for the security of the company or the house. So they are called as, the service is called security service. So if you purchase a security service, the company which is providing the security service, they are not authorized to collect any tax, because this falls under reverse charge mechanism. Only the recipient of the security service has to pay the tax at the rate of 18% to the government directly. So the security service company, the security service organization, they cannot collect the tax. In addition, there are many other things. All are not applicable to everyone. Only these three we will take up. This is about the section 9.3. Section 9, subsection 3. We will discuss this GTA later. Okay. And the second one is, and one more thing is here, in this case of section 9.3, the goods or services, in this both the cases, the suppliers here, agriculturists, government and others. In this case, anyone. In this case, the suppliers in these two cases, both under section 9.3, goods and services in both the cases, the supplier, whether the supplier is registered or unregistered, whether it is a registered dealer or unregistered dealer, this RCM is applicable. This dealer cannot collect tax. Unregistered dealer means There is no, the GST is not applicable. So he cannot collect at all and cannot pay the government. So definitely RCM is applicable. But in the case of registered dealer also, he cannot collect the tax. RCM only is applicable, whether registered or not. In the case of supplier, registered supplier or unregistered supplier, RCM will be applicable. He cannot collect the tax, but the recipient will be liable to pay. He will be a registered dealer. So these people, unregistered dealer or registered dealer, supplying these goods or services to a registered dealer, government, corporation, any company registered under the Companies Act, all these supplies made to those persons, they are liable for the reverse charge mechanism. Okay, so these in these two cases, 9(3) goods and services, the supplier may be registered or unregistered. The second one is section 9 subsection 4, only unregistered. In this case of these two goods and services, they may be registered or unregistered. But in the second one is only unregistered dealers, unregistered dealers, unregistered dealers supplying goods or services other than covered under section 3, subsection 3. So other than the goods here mentioned in 9 subsection 3, goods other than these goods and these services, all other goods or services supplied by unregistered dealers to not all the registered dealers, to specified registered dealers. So supplier is unregistered dealer, only unregistered dealer, and the recipient is specified not all the registered dealers, only specified by the government in the act, specified dealers only. If they buy service or goods from unregistered dealer, these goods or services other than those mentioned in subsection 9(3). Subsection 3, except these goods or services, all other goods or services supplied by the unregistered dealer to specified registered dealer. So this section was introduced in 2017. It was there for few months and it was deleted. Deleted means it was suspended. So it was not applicable. And from 2019, 1st April 2019, again this is brought into existence. It is brought into operation. So in this case, section 9(4), the government will specify the specified registered dealers. In this case, only one type of registered dealer is specified at present. It is as only the real estate sector, the builder or promoter. Builder is also called promoter. We call builder, but in the act it is given as promoter. So the builder or promoter in the real estate sector, that is when constructing the buildings, either residential or commercial buildings, and selling them, called as builder or promoter, and registered. If this registered builder is definitely real estate dealer or builder has to get registration. So registered, this one particular person only is specified so far. So this 9(4) is applicable only for real estate sector, builder or promoter, only for real estate sector. And the next one, last one is section 9, subsection 5. This is not applicable to any other business. It is applicable to only ECO, means e-commerce operators. The business people, they maintain some electronic platform like Swiggy, Zomato, Volo, Uber, Flipkart, Amazon. All these are called as e-commerce operators. So any e-commerce operator supplying the services to the buyers from sellers. So this person, ECO, will be liable to the tax under the reverse charge mechanism. The seller is not liable to pay. The buyer or the recipient is not liable to pay. In the middle, the ECO only is liable to pay the GST under reverse charge mechanism. Okay, this is called and section 9, subsection 5. So leave this, and in this case, we will see the goods or services. The supplier may be registered or unregistered. Whether registered or unregistered, the RCM will be applicable for all the cases. So in every case, but in the case of GTA also, we will take up only this is most important. Every business will get this GTA service, legal service, rent. There may be rent or not. Security services will be getting. All others are same as this one. The entries will be the same. But here we will learn about this is the most important GTA, Goods Transport Agency. So for this also 5% is applicable under reverse charge, whether the GTA is registered or unregistered, 5% RCM is applicable. Okay, as actually we will learn what is meant by GTA. Goods Transport Agency means any person, means business organization, any business giving services in relation to the transportation of only goods, not passengers. So transportation of goods by road, railway, airways, waterways, they does not come under GTA, Goods Transport Agency, they are not considered. So only goods, transportation of goods by road only, and so this means all of every person, auto wala, auto rickshaw, so they transport goods. Other lorries on the road, we can find many lorries. All they transport the goods, but all they does not come under GTA. Goods Transport Agency means supplying the goods, that is the transporting the goods, transportation of goods by road, everything is okay. But another one is by road and issuing, issuing consignment note. That is the acknowledgement for the transportation. We call it as LR also, lorry receipt. Generally, see, Navata Transport, SRMT Transport, like that. There are many transport agencies are there. They are called as GTS because they give the acknowledgement. That is technically called as, they'll give the receipt. We call it as lorry receipt or acknowledgement or bill. But the technical name is consignment note. Consignment means transporting goods from one place to another place is called as consignment. The person sending the goods is called the consignor. The person receiving the goods is called the consignee. So with all the details of the consignor, his registration number, if any, if there is registered, registration number of the consignor, the address of the consignor, the consignee address, everything, details of the consignor, consignee, and details of the goods, transportation of the goods, the invoice number, the person supplying the goods will give the invoice number, details of the invoice number, the goods, type of goods, there is the details of the goods, tax charge, everything, the details will be given. And for the transporter, his transport charges and any other incidental charges like loading, unloading, and storing of the goods. For all the taxes, all the charges, he will mention in the consignment note that will be issued to the person using the facility. That is person booking the transportation, transport GTA. He will issue the GTA, consignment note. Then only he is called as GTA. So on the road we can find lorries. If you take them and send goods to one place to another place, that person will not, the transporter will not fall under the DCA. Auto walas, there are many goods autos. Will take them, will take the services, but they will not fall under the GTA. They must transport the goods only by road, and they have to issue. Main thing is they have to issue the consignment note. So in this case, so in the case of all others, like all others as well as GTA also, whether the GTA is local or interstate, okay, no problem. And whether registered or not registered, the RCM at the rate of 5% is applicable. The GTA cannot charge the tax, collect the tax in the invoice. He will mention GST is payable by the recipient under reverse charge. Okay, so the recipient is liable to pay the 5% of the 5% GST directly to the government, has to pay, and he can claim the ITC immediately. Okay, so this is about the goods and services. But in the case of GTA, so registered or unregistered, this is applicable. But in the last 2-3 days, government has given one option to only registered GTA. Unregistered GTA means GST is not applicable. So there is no option. Only RCM will be applicable. But in the case of registered GTA, one option is given to them. For the registered GTS, registered Goods Transport Agency, one option is there. He can opt or he can select. Another thing, collecting, this is RCM, the recipient will pay to the government. But the registered GTA, Goods Transport Agency, if they select, they can select collecting 12% from the recipient, collecting 12% from the recipient, not 18%, 12%. and paying to the government. It is called as forward charge mechanism. So they can opt for forward charge mechanism at the rate of 12%, collecting from the recipient and paying to the government. In that case, the recipient, he will not have any RCM liability. So he is paying to the government, paying to the transporter, that means the seller or the supplier of the service, he is paying. It comes under forward charging mechanism. So he don't have any liability. He will not pay to the government. Only he will paying to the supplier of service. GTA is paying. They will pay to the government. He can claim without payment. That is without paying to government directly. Already paid to the GTA. So he can claim the GTA. He can claim the ITC. Okay. And here he has to opt for this. For selecting this, he has to, that goods transport agency, registered goods transport agency, has to apply to the GST department in form number Annexer 6. He has to apply Annexer 5. Annexer 5. He has to apply and he has to get the permission. Then he can collect the tax at 12% under forward charging mechanism. Okay, but he has to mention the option in the invoice. He can charge 12% tax in the invoice. So invoice includes tax also. Okay. And if he does not opt for this, select for this, either registered also, that 5% RCM is applicable. So in this case, so what is the use of collecting this and paying to the government additional work? The thing is, so the goods transport agency, he will get services from others. Suppose he can rent vehicles from others. So input services he will get. For that, he has to pay the GST also, isn't it? Similarly, if you purchase capital goods like lorries, any vehicles, autos to give the service of the transport, he will purchase the vehicles also. So they are called as fixed assets, are also called as capital goods. So input services, capital goods, he purchased from outside, he has to pay the tax to them. Okay, so that tax he can get ITC if he opt for the 12% forward charging mechanism. If you select, he can get the ITC for his tax, his input services and capital goods. He can claim the ITC for them. Not this 12% collected. That is paid by the supplier, a recipient. Then this person will pay to the government. The recipient will claim the ITC on this 12% tax. But the GTA will get ITC for the input services and all. If it does not select this, if it just keep quiet, this 5% RCM will be approved. In such case, the GTA will not get any ITC for their input services as well as capital goods. He will not get. So this is the only thing. In this case, in the bill, if there is 12% tax, it means it is forward charging mechanism. So the recipient is not liable to pay the tax 5% under RCM. So this is applicable to RCM. This is applicable to forward charging mechanism. This 5% is payable by the recipient. The seller, the GTA, will not collect the tax in the invoice. In this case, the GTA will collect the 12% in the invoice you will mention, and you will mention about this option, and the recipient is not liable to pay any RCM. Okay, this is about this. This is about the whole thing about the reverse charging mechanism. How this reverse charging mechanism is implemented in the books. In the books, how the entries are made. How the entries are made, that we will take up in the next class. In the tally, how the entries are made. To implement this RCM, how the entries are made. This one we'll take up in the next video. Till then, you go through this video again, you will understand everything. Okay. And once you go to the accounting entries, where you can usually understand very easily. Okay. With this, I am closing this class. I am closing this video, and I wish you all the best. Bye. We'll meet in the next video for the accounting entries in the books, that is in tally. Okay. Bye.